Hello, good morning, everybody at TRLab, and good morning to all the SCI holders who have joined us today for this very special private AMA with the artist SCI Guo-Qiang. So good morning, everybody.
大家早。
Good morning, everyone.
以前每一次都是用那个给大家画的照片，早。今天是真实的实时互动的早。
I've been saying good morning, GM, to everyone with my photos only, but this time today it's a real good morning from me.
And welcome, Audrey. Thank you for joining us. This is a great opportunity to talk with Sai, and Audrey will also be here to help with any sort of Chinese translation of comments that come in. So please do feel free to drop your questions in the owner's channel chat, and we'll make sure that we can get those answered today. So, Zhao Shanghao, Master Sai, it would be wonderful to hear maybe a little bit more about how your life has been now back in the US these past few days. Everybody has seen your good morning pictures in the GM channel. And I think everybody is very jealous of maybe the farm that you have for your studio out in New Jersey. So it'd be great to hear a little bit more about what you've been up to.
对，因为大家每天都收到我的早365天，所以大家应该都很知道我每天是在哪里在北京啦，在机场啦，然后要去又要到哪一个国家了，然后也看到我母亲去世啊，家在泉州家有灵堂啦，所以大家已经很熟悉，也知道我又到了洛杉矶了，现在又回到了纽约了。其实你们都应该是世界上一群最知道我每天在哪里的，那我很高兴也不必要再介绍了，现在就在New Jersey，因为我已经给大家画了好几天的早。我每天早有时候是到了纽约，在工作室，而我住在Broadway的家。那天早晨我画的就是纽约的早，但当我那一天早晨是在New Jersey的，我就给大家画的是New Jersey的早。但有一个就是住在纽约的人会感到，什么晚上给我画早啊？但是因为我画的早是顺着那个亚洲的时间，在日本啊、大陆啊、还有香港啊、台湾啊，那个时间大概那个，所以我都是晚上给大家画的早。那早上拍的照片是晚上画的，大家会感到怎么晚上给我早啊？那还有一个就是，反正你们应该都知道，我现在是在New Jersey今天，应该很快你们都像从卫星上面看下来一样，大家都看得清清楚楚，我们在哪里，被你们卫星定位，我们自己被卫星定位。
So all of you have been receiving GMs from me almost for a year now, just for months. So you already know me very well where I have been. Well, I was in Beijing, or sometimes I was in the airport, or in different countries. And even my mom passed away in my hometown, Quanzhou. You also saw a photo of the memorial service room. And then I was in LA, etc., etc. So you are probably one of the groups that know me best in this world now. You know exactly where I have been, every single places. So probably no more introduction needed here. I'm in New Jersey, my second studio in New Jersey. One interesting maybe that sometimes some of you who are in New York or in the US may wonder why all of a sudden you started receiving GMs while it's nighttime here. That's because I have been sending posting or sending GMs thinking in mind the audience, my friends and families who are in Chinatown. So that's why sometimes when you start receiving GMs when you are in nighttime, that means, well, I am in the same time zone with you. That's just an interesting side note. So yeah, I'm back to the US. I'm literally in New Jersey, my studio now. Very soon you will realize that you can pinpoint me just like a satellite, my exact location, like with this GM photos that I've been sending and will be sending to you all.
所以他们是最好的卫星定位，菜现在在哪里？这个卫星定位很准。
In a sense, you are the best satellite in the world who can pinpoint me exactly where I am.
我很希望跟他们是这样的亲密的关系。
And I'm very happy to have this intimate relationship with you all.
因为你想我也有很多美术馆啊，还有收藏我作品的那个收藏家了，但他们都是一个个单个的这种交流啊，还有单个的共享那些一些信息成长起来的。现在我是跟他们共识分享，然后共同对话，而且是公开的、透明的，每天互相问候，这个显得特别亲密，又特别的那个大家有交流，更广阔的交流。
And also, it's interesting to think that in the past, oftentimes were the museums where individual collectors acquired my works. So I maintained a great relationship with them, having lots of dialogues, conversations with them. But most of them happen sort of one-on-one, and also privately. Whereas now we're having this shared experience. My good mornings to you are sort of shared all at once with all of you. And also it happens in the public way, and also in the more intimate and interactive way. So I very much enjoy such kind of dialogues with you all.
Brian, I think you're muted.
Sorry, there's a dog next door, and he was just getting up this morning. No, I think this is such an incredible aspect of the NFT community and being able to have these connections. And I know all of the owners of your work really do appreciate these, abilities to interact with you, and these, small gestures of just a good morning photograph really are having a huge impact on your collectors. So I think I can say for everyone, thank you for doing that, and thank you for sharing so much of your life with us. So, I think we're all very excited. Obviously, we're really eager for your daytime fireworks to launch, and I know everybody is really eagerly anticipating the countdown to reach 0. They really want to be involved. So I would love to know a little bit more about your daytime fireworks. Could you tell me what is significant about fireworks during the daytime? And how do you define a daytime firework? How did you come across this medium? What's so special about working with fireworks during the daytime?
对，那个白天呢是跟晚上不同的。晚上烟花大家印象很深刻，它主要是依靠化学物爆炸产生的光，那个产生那个效果。那么它那个光是带着，那些光都是很瞬间的，咚咚就结束的，所以它这个都是一叠叠的非常短时间的产生，然后就消失。你如果要看很久，那个光就要不断的痛痛痛痛，或者砰砰砰砰砰砰一直炸，它那个光才会存在的。
So indeed, daytime fireworks is unlike the nighttime fireworks, which most of you may be more familiar with. So how nighttime fireworks achieve its effect? It's mainly by using chemical components, compounds, to produce light. And the light helps achieve the effect that we have been seeing about nighttime fireworks. But as you can imagine, light is very short-lived and transient. In order to achieve continuous effects, we have to constantly setting off fireworks into the sky, like doom, 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 constantly setting off fireworks. Otherwise, you will only see one doom and then one light, which is that one short effect. That's the thing about nighttime fireworks. And then what about daytime fireworks?
那白天烟火它主要是靠那个烟产生的黑白色彩 那这个当然烟里也是里面中了火药，这些烟也是能燃烧的。那给它发射了以后，咚，它再往上走，其实这个烟也可以看到一条，然后咚再炸开，比如说一条绿色的，然后再张开一朵红色的花，它是基本上是实时存在那一个地方的，只是那个底下的烟会稍微被风也看风的那个速度还存在，看它吹得快不快。所以基本上它靠烟呈现，它留在我们的视觉里面相对会长一点，而且它既然是靠烟存在，它就需要光把它照到，它才能看。那么它只能白天来做，晚上就很少放白天烟火。可以想象晚上的白天烟火，那就看不见是黑夜一样。恰恰晚上的那个靠光的烟花，传统的烟花，它就希望要更晚更好，它可以看得很亮。
So indeed, daytime fireworks rely on colored smoke to achieve the special effects. Just imagine, firstly, the shells or the fireworks are inserted in the firing tube, and then after ignition, it will be pushed into the sky, and then you will see, for example, a green smoke going up and up and up, and then it may sometimes, depending on our design, sometimes it will have achieved a second ignition, boom, at this top, and then producing another, say, red flower, also realized with, say, red smoke. And then sometimes the specific effect may be affected by the wind speed. But overall, just imagine, because the effects is realized with smoke, so it will linger, the effects will linger longer in the air than the nighttime fireworks, which realize their effects with light. Of course, light is more transient. So yeah, indeed. But additionally, for the colored smoke to be seen, we need daylight, natural light to really see the smoke, the colored smoke effect. That's why daytime fireworks have to happen in the daytime. If we shoot the same daytime fireworks products at night, there's no natural light for it to be lit, to be seen, so that wouldn't work. And that's also why, whereas the nighttime fireworks, which are shot at nighttime, it has that light to be seen. So that's how the two kinds of products work.
那晚上放的烟花，它的优点是因为我们可以想象我们的古人在一个黑暗的城市乡村突然照那么亮，像太阳一样的亮起来，大家的那一种作为动物还有这种文化情感就会很开心。但它的弱点就是它不大能看，烟花会很突出，那个烟花绽放的心情会很突出，但是那一个看不到那个风景本身，比如说远方的田野雪山乡村城市都不是那么清楚。但白天烟火呢，它就是在你现有的看得见的城市上空出来了，所以它那个作品和当地的环境会成一张画面。就像我们如果是在白天比如说在上海，我们放了一个九级浪，那是上海的这个天际线上海就跟你的作品是交合在一起的，是同一个画面。
And as for another note on the daytime fireworks, just imagine when it was first invented, people in history, long time ago, when there was no light, no light at all. So at nighttime, say in the village or in a city, where people only rely on small, tiny candles to light up their world, all of a sudden, when they saw a huge fireworks, imagine how exhilarated they would be, how happy they would be.
Wow.
Like they will be totally wowed by that degree and scale of light, lighting up their darkness. So with their, just imagine as a human being, instinctively, just like an animal, imagine you are a little animal, how happy you will be to see that spectacle. But we have to understand, indeed, nighttime fireworks, they could be very beautiful and achieving that effect. But the only downside, one of the downside may be people cannot really see much of the surroundings, like like the field or the snow mountains or the city they were in. And that's one of the beauties about daytime fireworks. You get to see not only the beautiful fireworks, but also how it unfolds above the cities, the countryside, the surroundings. In a sense, daytime fireworks get to be interacting with the environments, the locations it is in, and overall together the fireworks and the surroundings become one integral painting in a sense. So for example, when I realized my daytime fireworks in Shanghai above Huangpu River, that project was entitled Elegy, for the opening of my solo exhibition at the Power Station of Art Museum. Then at the time, Shanghai and Huangpu River, together with my daytime fireworks, they became one integrated painting in a sense at that particular, which was a beautiful thing.
所以我们就可以想象，那个他简约的说，比如说现在日本樱花盛开，那你看大家都在樱花树底下看烟花，那你那个烟花是可以打到天空啊，晚上的烟花啊，像樱花一样的垂下来，咚，那你是在樱花底下看天空的樱花的烟花。可是你如果在白天也要放这个樱花的烟花，那它就不一样了啊！在一片片的樱花的树林上空，一朵一朵的樱花是跟它完全在一个那个画面里面的，就等于有2层樱花，一层是真实的这个公园里面的樱花，还有一个你天上的樱花，这个就另外一种神奇。我没有说晚上好和不好，白天好和不好，它带给人的诗意和感动是另外2种。
So in another word, just imagine, for example, if we create nighttime fireworks in Japan, when people get to appreciate it underneath a cluster of cherry blossom trees. But imagine when the fireworks are in the sky, they mostly can only see the fireworks against the night sky. Whereas if we do this daytime fireworks also featuring cherry blossoms, then the people underneath the cherry blossom trees can see how the fireworks cherry blossoms unfolding above the real cherry blossom trees, which will create 2 layers of wonders, which is definitely different from their experience in the nighttime. So I'm not saying whether nighttime or which is better or not. It's just that they have distinct wonders or beauties when the same fireworks are done in nighttime and daytime.
Okay, thank you.
That's such a wonderful way to say it, and appreciating what is naturally around you along with the firework. That's really wonderful. And I'm curious, when was the first time that you actually used daytime fireworks?
I'm sorry, I was translating.
Sorry. When was the first time that Sai was able to use daytime fireworks?
当我到日本的时候，然后日本的烟花公司，当时叫小盛烟店，那他们是日本的第18代，已经是江户时代几百年的一个老烟火店。那他那个老板是这个日本烟花协会的会长，那他就看到我就很高兴，他说我们在火药烟花上面受到中国文化的这个恩惠。我现在有机会来报答一次，然后所以就给了我很多火药烟花让我随便用他们工厂的各种材料。那时候我主要是用黑色的自然火药在爆炸做作品。那我看到了这个彩色的，也能炸出彩色的，那就问这些彩色是干什么？他说彩色是我们在小学做运动会的时候，因为小学做运动会都是白天嘛。田径比赛跑或者小孩要运动会开始了，要号召周边的村民都来看这个小孩运动会了，都会打这个带烟的弹到空中，砰砰砰，然后来一个绿色的，来个红色的烟，大家哇，运动会开始了，赶快去给小孩加油吧！这都是那个时代的 一个故事。其实日本人保留到现在，小孩运动会、小学运动会还是放烟弹。那这个烟呢，我就发现那可以用在火药上啊，用在我的作画上面，因为作画永远都是黑白的嘛。那可是我用了一个阶段，发现这个彩色烟炸在画上不是我很兴趣的，因为那时候我年轻，喜欢那种很纯粹的爆炸产生的那一种力量感，而且更追求一种宇宙效果，所以就不大用这个彩色烟。这用彩色烟是后来慢慢的从05年在马来西亚做这个黑彩虹啊各方面的时候，又捡起了日本的这个用白天的烟花那些烟弹来创造我的艺术。
So that's a long history. When I first arrived, soon after I arrived in Japan in the 90s, I became friends. I came to know with Takatsu Fireworks, Ogatsu Fireworks Company, a very renowned fireworks company in Japan. They have hundreds of years of history there, and the owner of the company is also the director of the Association of Fireworks in Japan. So very nice and then influential person. So he immediately became friends with me, and then telling me that the fireworks industry in Japan have been benefited a lot from our Chinese counterparts who invented the fireworks and gunpowder in the beginning. Yeah, because Chinese people invented the gunpowder and fireworks in the beginning. So Japanese fireworks industry have been benefited a lot from our counterparts. He was very happy to come to know me, and then offering generously materials, gunpowder pyrotechnic materials for me to use to create my artworks. For me, before then, when I was in China, I was more used to working with pure black gunpowder or fireworks products. And now in Japan, I had access through this fireworks company, colored gunpowder, colored pyrotechnic materials. And then, so at the time, I actually first wondered what exactly is the colored pyrotechnic materials. And then they told me that in Japan, for primary school, when they hold sports games at primary school, they would first shoot out a colored smoke shell, like a shell containing colored smoke into the sky as a way to signal to the surrounding villages that, well, we're having this sports game, please all come and to cheer for our primary school students. So that's how it works. It's a very interesting and intimate thing to do. So I then was thinking, well, should I start experimenting with colored smoke in my gunpowder painting too? So I gave it a little try, but then I realized, probably because I was young and then very experimental at the time, so I prefer to work more with black and white, the monochrome kind of color scheme, which seems more pure for me. In terms of, it has like an ink painting kind of feeling, which I prefer at the time. Whereas the colors may look a bit distracting to me for my art creation at the time. I prefer the kind of strength and then the sense of cosmos as conveyed by black and white. So I put it on hold. Regarding the use of colored smoke. But then fast forward to the year 2005, when I was doing a project in Valencia, an explosion event, I created my first daytime explosion event entitled Black Rainbow. That was when I started picking up the kind of smoke shell that I had access to in Japan. And later, I moved down to create more and more daytime fireworks.
当然，现在大家看到我的画，色彩很丰富啊。那个有时候是因为我也想想，我怎么现在对这个色彩这么有着迷啊。它可能也包含我的人生在变化更多的温情而不仅仅是年轻时候的一种强大的一种力量追求的精神性就是叫做所谓的那个甜酸苦辣吧，奶奶啊老了，爸爸妈妈衰老了，去世了孩子长大了各种各样的这种情感，我的儿女情长 风花雪月更多了，所以我就自然而然的对用色彩表现我的情感就更发生了兴趣啊。后来我的画里面大量就使用了这个日本那个小学运动会的那个白天烟花的那个烟弹来作画，然后也从这个里面也同时其实也做了天空上的白天烟火和画面上的，因为我都是把画布当成一个大自然的宇宙，画布也是我的天空，天空也是我的画布，那样在作画。
So some of you may also realize I've been creating a variety of colored gunpowder paintings. So at one point I was asking myself why I started become obsessive about colors again, and then I realized maybe that was because life changes. I'm in a different life stage now. Lots of things happened over the past decades. Well, I lost some of my most dear loved family members, and also my children are growing up, and so lots of complicated and feelings have been experienced in my life. I'm more sort of rooted in life now than when I was much younger in Japan. So hence the different emotions were response to the kind of materials I want to use to properly express my current feelings. And then color seemed a more proper, suitable materials to express this kind of diverse feelings. As a result, I started using more and more colored smoke materials to create gunpowder paintings. In fact, the same kind of pyrotechnic materials that I have first had access to in Japan. I actually used the same material to create daytime fireworks in the sky, and also used the material to explode on canvas. For me, sky is my canvas, and canvas is my sky. Canvas also for me is a kind of a symbol of nature and the cosmos. So the sky and canvas are sort of interchangeable, or they are channeled with each other.
Thank you.
Oh yes, no, thank you. It's so nice to learn more about your life. So I think that it's been great to hear so much about your daytime fireworks, but I would love to think more about where you've been drawing your inspiration from recently. And you mentioned your life has been changing, and you continue to grow and evolve. Where are you drawing your inspiration from, and where do you, I guess, see your projects heading in the near future?
对，那我们就说一下最近我这几年吧，我两个比较重要的一个也是有很多体验的那个白天烟花，一个是九级浪。那么做那个九级浪的时候，是我刚好在上海准备我的那个在 PSA 的个展，所以我看到有一些新闻上海这个黄浦江上飘来很多死猪，它也表现了我们的一些环境担忧。所以我就想在那个黄浦江上放一场烟火。那这个烟火呢，开始就是构想，这个烟花都是白天烟花，都是很美的嘛。但它如果是能够用这很美的白天烟花来表现一场葬礼，一个哀悼，所以就会对我来说是一个社会性，还有一个也打动我，也能够跟观看的市民们。这个城市共情的一个主题，那我们就做了给这个白天烟火做了三幕，第一幕叫做什么？追忆，还有慰藉。那么第一个叫什么？挽歌，第一场是挽歌，第二场是追忆，第三场是慰藉。挽歌嘛，就是黑色的、白色的，像一个金字塔。葬一样的，我希望以后，反正我们这个网站可以给厂家们提供这类短视频，大家看看就可以理解了。就第一场这个挽歌充满着哀悼，第二场追忆呢，就用各种各样的彩色回忆我们的人生 就我把大自然当成人生来悼念，然后回忆我们的人生啊，点点滴滴啊，充满很多美好的一些温情。那里面就包括绿的、红的在对话，也有各种各样的颜色，最后也有很多绿色开满的红花，这一种人生灿烂的一些亮点和时光。最后是一个慰藉，就是一个盛大的安慰，有几千个蛋从空中向下垂下来，都是黄色的一种那个希望吧，也某种意义上有个希望。那上海这一个项目，我感到做的是非常有人文色彩社会议题的。
So over the past years, I'm just thinking maybe I could share two particular daytime fireworks as examples. First is the daytime fireworks elegy that I realized, I just mentioned that I realized for the opening of my solo exhibition, The Ninth Wave at the Power Station of Art PSA Museum in Shanghai that I did in 2014. At the time, my inspiration was that I saw in the news a huge crowd of dead pigs got floated across the Huangpu River all of a sudden, which posed a grave environmental concern to the people at the time, and including me. So, well, fireworks is a beautiful medium, but then I was thinking, can I use such kind of medium to realize a sort of funeral to mourn for the environmental damage that was caused by mankind? So which will hopefully prompt people to reflect on the social issues we are facing and hopefully can resonate with the public. So in response, I created a fireworks including 3 chapters. First, the first chapter is entitled Elegy, the eponymous chapter. It's sort of to sets the tone, the kind of elegy kind of feeling. And then for this chapter 2 is called Remembrance. It's about all the beautiful memories, pieces of memories of life, as expressed by like a green and red kind of fireworks meshing with each other, as just like our memories. And then sometimes you will see green stem being shot into the sky, and then a red blossom would unfold on the top as a kind of highlights of our life, for example. So all of these are chapter 2. And for the last chapter, chapter 3, is entitled Condolence. I realized a variety of things, including thousands and thousands of bright yellow fireworks shooting the sky, one added onto another, creating a very spectacular kind of finale of the fireworks. It also conveys hope, pointing to something brighter in the future. So overall, this fireworks, I hoped it to convey both a sense of humanity and also prompt people to reflect on social issues.
那么这个主题，因为刚才问我灵感从哪里来，就是从上海的那个黄浦江的一个环线的一个信号来的。那它那一天天气是气压很低，没有风，所以我就会给大家分享一下这个白天烟花，就是它又怕风又怕没风完全有风那就咚就被风吹掉，完全没风炸了很多都一直停在那，那又气压很低，那个烟又飞不上去，浮不上来，就很低很低的，就一直把这个白天烟火一场一场表演变成压在黄浦的江面上，就形成了一幅那个像水彩一样的那一个画面，很慢很慢的那个移动在黄浦江的上面，这就非常美，很感动。所以那个晚上烟花它咚咚咚咚咚咚咚咚就流下来了，就一下光散了就没了，光散了就没了。但是这个白天烟火它会凝固在那边虽然它的造型会被这个烟会慢慢闪掉，可是它变成了一个抽象的彩色画卷。
So I remember, so first, the question you asked was regarding my inspiration. So as I mentioned, I was at the time inspired by that news and then the social issue at the time about environmental destruction. So then I also remember for that day of the realization, it was raining in the morning, so it was very humid when I literally realized set off the fireworks into the sky. As a result, the colored smoke got as if they got trapped in the air for that moment. And then as the new fireworks are unfolding or are being shot into the sky, more and more colored smoke got sort of, they were lingering above the Huangpu River and creating a watercolor kind of painting for that moment. And just imagine everything happened very slow. The colored smoke just was as if they were floating, constantly floating above the river. So just imagine for the nighttime fireworks, because it relies on light to achieve the effect. Once the light is gone, the effect disappears. Whereas in this case, just imagine the daytime fireworks, the colored smoke as if they got frozen for that moment in the sky and achieving a lingering effect. While of course the specific shape of the products may disappear as time goes by, but the majority of the colored smoke get trapped in that moment. Overall, in a sense, the painting in the sky transformed from a relatively realistic painting to an abstract painting as time goes by.
Yeah.
对，那还有一个可能要更短的说了，好像每一个都说很久，时间会影响吧，因为干邑我又做了一次，因为那大家会说，那疫情啊，全世界都在疫情，你为什么不来做一个呢？所以我有一个机会在法国干邑做一场，我也是选择他们那条河流，那作为的一个关于那个谁呀？诗人那个
李白，
不是那个哲学家那个尼采的主题悲剧的诞生，那我就把它处理成为也是题目。那这个悲剧诞生，哇，我就感到在疫情里面可以好好的通过这个白情来表现，也当然也里面也有表现了一场最后是一场那个毕加索的那个绘画。对那个世界的一种担忧强烈的这种一种伤感。那中间也有那个李白的那个飞流直下3000尺是吧？将进酒，这个是很想得很美，但那一天没想到，不是梅风，是风很大，而且像观众这样吹过来，所以这一个飞流直下3000尺，将进酒等等的那个东西，就会整个那个这样吹下来，包括那个蛋壳都往观众里面吹，看起来就是整个失控，那个现场有点失控。但是这个烟和这个蛋都不是很明显的，只要它炸开了吹下来就不是那么明显。但真的是表现了一次叫做悲剧的诞生。
So, okay, I realize I have to try to keep my answers short because we're restricted by time. But then just one more example I want to share, maybe the project, the daytime explosion event I did in Cognac in France. Soon after the pandemic broke out, I was invited to create this project above the river in Cognac. So I was just thinking what exactly should be created in response to the suffering, the pandemic that we were in. And then I was inspired by the Birth of Tragedy by Nietzsche, and then created the daytime fireworks accordingly. And it also includes multiple chapters. I remember the finale was inspired by a painting by Picasso in which he expressed concern about this world and the concerns and fears and uneasiness. And also was inspired by a famous poem by Li Bai. The poem was entitled 将进酒.
黄河之水天上来
one of the poem that I that strike me in particular is translation would be roughly the Huanghe River come all the way from the sky. So overall, it conveys a strong sense of force of nature. And and hence the strong emotions underneath. So on the day of the realization, I remember clearly that the wind was super high. As a result, the wind and along with the exploded fragmented shells all came at our audience as the fireworks was happening. So overall, the entire scene and the fireworks became sort of out of control. But everything was very safe because then it was smoke, fireworks, and then the shells for everything. We ensure everything was safe. Only if you are on site, you will feel the kind of strength of nature, force of nature, the sense of being out of control. Well, I have to say, it really was a sort of burst of tragedy.
Wow, that's an incredible story. Well, so that's an interesting question. You have crowds, the community that gathers to participate in watching your work. I think a lot of people have been very curious. You've been very busy, obviously. How does it feel to have created now for 2 Olympics?
OK， 因为当时08年奥运会的时候，中国是还有整个人类社会更有一种经济蓬勃发展，物资繁荣，还有全球化互相交流，互相共同拥有一个大市场，一种积极健康的当然中国也主要是表现中国想向世界表现他们走向世界来到中国这一种强烈的愿望。那时候也想让世界看到中国现代化建设以后的成就，所以我们当时热热闹闹、人山人海表现，包括创意。那时候我也是世界艺术总设计包括烟火，然后也是跟张艺谋导演一起做这个新创意整个晚上的演出。那这一次我也是扮演了这一个一样的角色。那这一次就不一样了，就更多的不像讲我怎么样，更多的讨论我们讨论我们的时代然后全球化越来越变化，等于是经济政治各种摩擦越来越多，然后时代也变化，包括受到 NFT 这种虚拟世界的影响，更多用高科技 LED 还有这个3D 成像AR 体验所以就不要人山人海了，可以用更空灵的、诗意的，更有我们这个时代特色的，有真实的、有虚拟的，因为大量的传播都依靠网络了所以疫情现场也可以做10万人的观众席，也只能改成了做3万人这样的，所以整个演出就更突出这一种人类追求美好生活，然后更不讲中国的故事，然后艺术形式更空灵的表现。所以你先说这个，我再说烟花。
So when the Beijing Olympics in 2008 happened, at the time the entire world was embracing or was witnessing booming economy, material prosperity, and they had a sort of a widely globally shared market. All is very open and leveled. The same was with China, and at the time China had a strong wish to be open up to the world and for the world to see more about China. This two-way dialogues was what it hoped to achieve and to pursue at the time. And also China was keen to showcase the accomplishments of its modern urbanization and developments at the time. So for my role at the 2008 Beijing Olympics, my title was the Director of Visual and Special Effects, and also was responsible for the fireworks. And I worked closely with Zhang Yimou as the Director of the Olympics at the time. So this time for the Beijing Winter Olympics in 2022, which just happened, I had a similar role. But the concept of the Olympics was different than the 2008 version. This time is less about me, but more about we, us. And then, of course, then we're in a different world now. There are sort of, unfortunately, growing frictions or conflicts between countries and regions. And then we're in a different time now, being, say, we're embracing more high technology, including augmented reality, virtual reality, AR, VR, and 3D display technology, and NFT and metaverse, and those new phenomena. So indeed, we're in a different time now, and also considering we had this pandemic outbreak, we're in a different situation. So because of the pandemic, the audience for the stadium, which originally could accommodate 100K audience, we ended up we can only afford 30K in order to ensure safety and environment for everyone. So as a result, for all the new situation we're facing now, as a result, this time the Winter Olympics want to highlight how mankind together are pursuing a good life, and less about the China story. And we hope to achieve a more presented artistically speaking, we want to achieve more spiritual and abstract kind of special effects.
所以那整个烟花我也说一下，它基本上就08年，现在22年的这个冬奥会都没有08年的1/10或者几1/10了。大家可以想象，那个08年奥运的时候，晚会的一开始就有10几公里外有29个大脚印走过来，顺着北京的中轴线一步步走到这里来。为了那个29个大脚印，就要有1600个警察和消防人员来保护这一条中轴线的建筑和它的文化遗产不要被烧到，还要给它喷水啊，马路啊什么都要喷水啊。但是它的优点就是全程的人都可以跑到马路上来看，几百万人，等于是不要在鸟巢内也可以看到这个伟大的时刻来到了，然后参加到这个仪式里面来，世界来到了中国，或者说中国终于走向了世界，这一种历史性的瞬间。
So now I probably can talk a bit about the fireworks. In terms of the fireworks quantity for both ceremonies, actually, what we did this year only accounts for nearly 1/10 of what we had for 2008. Because what I'm meaning is that, for example, in 2008, imagine just at the beginning of the opening fireworks ceremony, 29 huge footprints realized by fireworks walked all the way along the central axis of the city of Beijing, all the way to the bird nest stadium. What that meant was over 1,600 people from the fire and safety department has to be stationed along the way to make sure the Asian buildings along the central axis of Beijing will be well protected from any potential risks or the fires. For this, they had to spray water to ensure everything is in place, under control. The good thing about having such kind of scale and complexity of the fireworks is that people, the public, more people, the public get to appreciate that historic moments even on the streets. Not only the people inside the bird nest get to be part of that special moment, but also the people from a variety of streets of Beijing City get to share that moment. So that was quite unique about the 2008 fireworks.
所以在那个开幕的最后的高潮，不光是鸟巢一带全放烟花，北京市每个区每个县都放烟花10分钟，就是仿佛从卫星可以看到整个城市火树银花不夜天的一种盛况，从卫星都可以实况转播一样的场景。
And then when the fireworks hit the climax, we shot fireworks not only inside the bird nest stadium, but also in the surrounding districts. And fireworks for that particular moment, fireworks unfolded all over the districts in Beijing. It was quite a spectacle, I imagine, for the satellites to see in the cosmos.
那这一次就不一样，这个就非常的画龙点睛，每 小的，像那个开始的倒计时就打出立春啊，然后欢迎大家来宣布开幕啊，就鸟巢顶上打出一棵迎棵松啊，这样的一种比较诗意的一种东西的，不是波澜壮阔的。
Whereas this time, the Winter Olympics opening ceremony, fireworks was different. It was of a more intimate and small scale. For example, in the beginning, it opened with fireworks writing out Li Chun in Chinese, meaning, and then in English, the beginning of spring. And then followed by a fireworks depicting a pine tree, signifying how it welcomes the guests from around the world.
那这个本来我还有一个很不错的创意，很想实现，就是刚才我已经说了那么多白天烟火，是我们白天放，那我就想搞一场白天烟火晚上放的。那这样在那个，比如说这个圣火点燃以后，满天都是，因为是冬奥会嘛，满天都是用晚上烟火。下雪的晚上烟火，就满天星星了，它就会把这个鸟巢周边都照亮，照如像白天一样的亮。大家可以想象，满天成千上万的那个星星在下，就像下雪，这个鸟巢都亮起来。然后亮起来的同时，鸟巢顶上开始放白天烟火，春夏秋冬，因为春来了，万紫千红总是春那样的感觉，让大家想啊，这是什么回事啊？这样烟花怎么从来没看过啊？
So I actually had one idea that didn't get to be realized, but I want to share with you here, which is, well, you know, I've been creating daytime fireworks, so which prompted me to think, can I realize the daytime fireworks at nighttime at the opening ceremony? Oh. So my idea was that after the Olympic flame was lit, and then we will shoot out numerous star effect fireworks, nighttime fireworks, which would light up the night sky at that moment. And in effect, it will strike people as if it's a spectacular snow coming down from the sky, like a white snow. So, but the bottom line is, at that moment, the night sky will be lit, and then on top of it, I could set off a huge daytime fireworks, as if to convey that how the spring is coming, and then flowers and blossoms, a variety of colors are blossoming, exploding in the sky. Realized by daytime fireworks. So then I imagine people will be wowed and then wondering, well, what is happening? How can we realize the daytime fireworks at nighttime? That will be really something.
但是政府要求说，你首先要做2件事情。第一件事情就是你需要让环境保护局给你有2个试验检测。第一就是你这个白天烟火的材料是健康的没有毒。损害身体环境。第二是这个燃烧以后变成烟了以后，不会影响环境。
But then, after submitting my idea, I was asked by the government 2 questions. One is, you have to get the approval from the environment department, which first need to conduct a scientific test to make sure the daytime fireworks materials are non-toxic, both for the environment and for the people. And secondly, you have to make sure after the burning, after the powder, the colored powder is burned, the smoke, the resulting smoke has to be environmentally conscious as well.
但这个2个我们都通过了，都是没问题。但是政府还是会担心在媒体的宣传上会失控，就是我们感到怎么放了那么多烟啊，所以也就没有实现。那么通过这个例子可以说明那个在现实上放烟花是经常会受到人的质疑担心，哪怕你检测了说这个没有毒不会对环境有很多影响。人们也会担忧的，这也回到我们做 NFT 的烟花，这种数字烟花、线上烟花，它确实是轻松了很多。另外一方面来说。
So we actually passed all those tests conducted by the environmental department, but eventually the government still said no to this idea because they were still a bit concerned about the press response or the public response about this new phenomenon, this new daytime fireworks, especially in terms of potential environmental impact. Indeed, in reality, when we are doing fireworks, we're often questioned, or we have been receiving some doubts or concerns from the public, from a variety of communities, even if in lab, it's all test-proof, it's been proven by the tests scientifically. But regardless, now that our project with TRLab, we're setting up digital fireworks in the crypto world. So this is definitely 100% safe and environmentally conscious.
Okay.
So free of any concerns.
蔡老师，我有个小问题，因为我们现在社区里有很多人都提出了很多问题，而且现在已经是10:56了。请问蔡老师可不可以再做10分钟或者15分钟跟我们？
可以，没问题啊。那可以，我们也可以开放给大家对问答。
好的，我们这边我知道 Ryan 还有一个问题，然后我们就可以去到社区问答的这个一个环节了。
OK。
因为现在我们已经有好多问题进来了。
好。
Ryan, I was just saying, Master Tai is very happy to stay for 10 to 15 more minutes, and that we had questions that had come through the community.
Great. I appreciate that, and I think it's been so wonderful to hear about your life's work and the quiz already for the golden ticket. So many people really enjoyed learning about these historic milestones in your life. So, some good questions have come from the community. People have shared images of your work in the chat. Yeah. I think they're really just so happy that you're here and talking with them. So there's some really good questions here. I think, you've talked a little bit about how COVID has affected your work, but, is there anything particular now going forward that you think COVID has left a permanent impression on how you work?
OK， 我认为肯定会的，因为疫情它影响了我们的生活，也就影响了我们的思考，我们的创作的一些新的注意点。它体验的，就像疫情期间，我本来是开始疫情之前，我是要准备到中世纪去旅行，顺着中世纪艺术旅行，但是因为疫情，我去不了了，就关闭在New Jersey就这个农庄里面。然后重新拿出我80年代思考宇宙还有个人学习的一个过程，走回自己的里程。其实这个里程再加上疫情带来的全世界的各种物流还有信息交流的方法的改变，那当然也是疫情更催生了这个 NFT 还有虚拟世界元宇宙所谓的元宇宙这些的发展。这个都会影响我们的未来，不会因为疫情的过去，我们好像没有消失一样。就像每一次世界大战或者是中世纪的黑死病它不会就这样消失的，它会影响了那个时代的艺术的文化的发展。
I'm sure COVID will have a sort of lasting impact on me and on my art, because we have to admit our life and my life has been really affected by the pandemic, which of course will affect my artistic focus in a sense. And for example, before the pandemic, I was already preparing for a grand journey to explore more about the Middle Ages. I made a detailed plan to visit historically significant cities in the Middle Ages as a way to have this dialogue as part of my individual's journey through Western art history. But then very soon, the pandemic broke out. I had to experience a sort of self-quarantine in my New Jersey studio. So what I did was to take out a variety of my own sketchbooks from the 80s, in which I drew out and write out lots of my ideas and then sketches, artistic sketches, concepts, some realized, some not, as a way to trace my own journey. So as opposed to the planned journey out, I ended up having a journey within. It's also a journey of exploration. So overall, such kind of changes coupled with the change of the world as in response to the COVID, and also the rising high tech like NFT, metaverse, AR, VR, this kind of new phenomenon all made a lasting impact on us, and so definitely things we won't be able to go back.
Right.
And just imagine what happened, what was the result of, say, Black Death in history, or the World War II or one. They all made a lasting impact, and I believe the pandemic, COVID, will be the same. Things won't be the same, and the art won't be the same.
Absolutely, but we keep going forward. So somebody asked a really great question. At what point in your life did you find your calling as an artist, that you knew this is what you wanted to do?
你人生中什么时候突然意识到你这辈子的使命就是要做一个艺术家？
OK， 因为我自己家里面有背景，我父亲是喜欢画国画和写书法，那但是我又有一点点愤青，就是抵抗他的那一种中国文化的这一种浪漫化和崇拜性，就是感到要面对当时中国的现实。但我不知道我什么时候喜欢上艺术，什么时候才确定我会当艺术家？可能是从我喜欢看漂亮的女孩子喜欢摘花很浪漫，在那种时代就喜欢种花摘花然后就躺在床上想，我长大了一定不要去上班，要上班就死了希望能够，那这个怎么走呢？只能乖乖的就是画画，就当一个不要上班的艺术家但没想到现在也是整天上班，8点就被助理说快起来了，吃饭了，10点要准备跟那个 TRLab 开会什么
So I guess firstly, I had this family background. My father was very obsessive about traditional Chinese calligraphy and traditional Chinese painting. But as an angry young man at the time, I always want to be rebellious and to go against my father or what he was passionate about. And I was against him romanticizing the traditional Chinese culture at the time. So instead, I wanted to face China's reality in my own way. But to be honest, I'm not entirely sure when exactly I became clear that I would be an artist in this life. Perhaps, looking back, perhaps that happened when I feel I became more attracted by pretty girls, something beautiful. And also I started to, I love planting flowers, appreciating all those beautiful things in my life. That may be subconsciously when, but probably also it happened when one day I was lying on bed and thinking that when I grow up, I don't want to go to work every day, do the 9 to 5 thing. So then how can I avoid that? Well, maybe by being a painter, so I can have my own schedule without going to work every day. But I never expected that. That never happened even after I became an artist. Because, for example, today at 8 a.m. in the morning, my assistant called me, pushing me to write and saying that, well, today, Tsai, we have this AMA with TRLab. I expected that to happen.
Thank you for waking up.
Now I have a schedule.
Yeah, now I have an even stricter schedule.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. We are glad you chose to be an artist. Another great question along those lines. You're talking about your family history, and you've talked about your current family, and you have daughters who are getting older, and they're also artists. So somebody was curious, are there any family collaborations coming up?
家庭是有些合作。
那是有，我有时候会一直期待跟我的女儿啊做点什么，但是要他们同意，他们不是那么容易同意。就像我父亲对我的要求也不容易同意一样，是，但我很希望跟我的女儿有一些合作。
Yeah, I'm expecting some kind of collaboration with my family members. To be honest, I've always been hoping to collaborate with my daughter or daughters, but
因为他们也是艺术家。
because naturally there are artists themselves. So and also as a father, I naturally would love to work with my daughters, but it's all up to them. I'm not sure if they will say yes to my offer. Just as I remember my father always would love to do something together with me, but at the time I was always against his wish.
但很快大家可能会很快会看到有些小合作。
But yeah, it's just a hint that hopefully very soon people will get to see some intimate and small scale collaboration between me and my family.
Oh, that's so wonderful. I think we're all looking forward to that and very curious to see how your style and your thinking ends up complementing what they also enjoy and love to do.
Yeah.
This is as a musician, this was a great question that somebody had sent. He said, Tsai Lao Shu, do you think about the sound of the fireworks launching when you create your works? I really loved hearing you recreate these sounds when you spoke about your fireworks, your daytime fireworks earlier.
是这样的，因为声音能够传递那个能量的变化，能量是看不见的，然后烟花还没出来也看不见，但是我是可以用声音来表现那一种能量，嘣、嘘、咚，那样各种各样的状态，然后来找到节奏大小，还有声音的那个厚薄，咚咚咚咚咚咚咚，这样的去找到它的能量的规律和那个如何展现能量。
Thank you. That was quite an interesting observation. Sound is indeed, I think, very important to me because for me it conveys the change of energy. Because when I was describing my fireworks to you, of course, there's no visuals for you to see, but when I was recreating the sound, I try to convey the changes of energy and in terms of the changing speeds and then the different scale or the different sort of thickness or depths of the fireworks through my mimicking the sound, through the sound.
所以当我在编成一场爆破的时候，其实经常是通过声音来理解这个爆破的感受是什么样。
So typically when I'm programming or designing a fireworks, I would often try to capture or convey or imagine the final result by thinking about the sound of the fireworks.
所以咚、嘘、咚、咚咚咚咚咚咚、咚咚、棒棒棒棒，这完全是在找到那一种，这个是打算达到什么样的感受。
So indeed, by doing what I just did, I was trying to capture or understand what's the most desired scale or complexity or the sort of depth and the thickness of the fireworks that I want to achieve at different moments.
所以声音是很有能量的，它对于我们的身体，虽然是从我们内在发出，但其实我们都想象它就像爆炸波一样，如何撞击、干扰我们的这个体验。
So indeed, I think sound has energy itself. Although when I'm producing sound, it seems that it comes from within. But in fact, also while I'm doing it, producing the sound, I'm creating waves or maybe sound waves or just energy waves coming back at me or the surrounding people.
Absolutely. I think that's so fascinating. And, living in Manhattan, in New York, I've always found it interesting when I hear fireworks, you hear the ricochet, the reverberation throughout all the buildings.
对对对。但是我们当然现在的那个声音和燃放经常依靠电脑来编程合作，它的优点就使我们更能够控制我们要的东西，但弱点就是它比较难以失控。那么其实失控是我们的动物性很重要的一部分，也是让我们解放了，搞不好要出事了啊！这种搞不好要出事的那个临界点，能够让我们获得了一种解放的感受。所以我有时候也会故意取消掉自己的控制安排，让它完全失控。
So nowadays, oftentimes in the fireworks programming and including how the sound will be reflected are programmed with computers instead of by just manually or on paper. The good thing is everything can be better under control. But the downside is also the fact that it's harder to lose control. Whereas sometimes losing control has its embedded beauty, because losing control, or the sense of losing out of control, is channeled with our animal instinct, or the kind of sense of liberation, the sense of being on the verge of a disaster or a risk or a danger actually has a beauty with a rich texture in it.
所以那个我的艺术本来就是因为我对我父亲的这种谨慎人生的规规矩矩在艺术上的传统性要破坏，然后我又在中国当时的社会的控制下有一种反抗性，要打破这个控制，不想被控制，才寻找这个火药来创作。那搞到我们很多高科技手段很多知道经验怎么美让人感动以后反倒失去了这一个失控性，你愿意追求的意外所带来的解放自由反倒失去了。所以这就是需要在这里面经常要因为过多的控制寻找自由，因为过多的散漫随意又寻找一些控制，所以就生存在这个民主与独裁。作为一个艺术家，就一直在民主与独裁里面摇摆。这个摇摆带来的挣扎和满意、不满意、痛苦，这个就是一个艺术家的一种魅力因为它也带动了人生社会就是这样的问题它是真实的在反映通过一个人的这个挣扎和摇摆。
That actually is also related to my art. When I was very young, I was determined to go against be a bit different from my father, who tend to control everything and timid and shy, restricted kind of a character. And I also wanted to rebel against the social restrictions exerted on me at the time, or the society back then. As a result, I was looking for an artistic medium that could liberate myself or liberate all those restrictions. And hence I identified gunpowder as my suitable material. But then over the decades, nowadays we have so many high technologies, and I also accumulated lots of experience through my variety of practices and projects. The good thing is, of course, I can keep more things under control and things will be executed as expected. But then we also risk losing the possibilities and beautiful possibilities of losing control, being out of control. So in a sense, we're losing the possibility of liberation and then the freedom. So in short, looking back, when we experienced excessive control, we were looking for liberty and freedom. And then once we have too much of liberty, we were too much out of control, we were then looking for something that can help us keep things under control. So it's a sort of two back and forth cycling thing. And in a sense, being an artist, I'm also oftentimes oscillating between democracy and dictatorship, well, artistically speaking. But that's also probably the one beautiful thing about being an artist. What my state of oscillation, as just mentioned, also reflects a kind of truth of our life.
所以我们还是在做 NFT 的时候，同样也会有这样的挣扎。什么是它的边界，然后什么是它的失控啊？我们如何更好的利用 NFT 的公共性、开放性、民主性？但是只要我们这个有公共性和开放的民主，它就容易使我们这个 NFT 缺乏控制，它就会失控。但是这个失控如何产生它的魅力和它的张力，这都是我不断的要去思考和去寻找的。
I'm keeping all those in mind when I'm exploring NFT world. So I've always been wondering what is the so-called boundary of the crypto world, or if there's any, and what is being out of control in crypto world, if it exists. And then how can I, or how, or whether, or how should I leverage the sort of democracy, unique democracy in the crypto world. But then, as I mentioned, when we have the kind of democracy, if we can ever attain that, can we still? It means a kind of we're closer to being the state of out of control, or in a neutral way. But once we're in the out of control state, do we want to go back and to have more control? We probably naturally will have that inclination. So there's always this tension. I want to capture that beautiful tension during cycles like this, or oscillation like this, and that's also what I have been reflecting on.
Yeah.
Wonderful. This has been such a really wonderful discussion, and again, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to come and talk with the community here. And it's so special just to have this connection to you. So thank you very much.
我很希望只是一个开头的对话，未来我们很有一起，不管是有对话没对话，我们每天都有一些问候，互相的对话，然后就共同的去展开我们的NFT，也是因为 NFT 和包含的我们人类社会的最新的一些旅行，这个旅行上的冒险和旅行上的发现当然也包括我们的高高低低的挫折和心情。
I'm very happy to be talking to you all today, and I hope this is only the beginning of many conversations to come in the future, down the road. I will be constantly sending more good mornings to you all, and I'm expecting lots of conversations and funny chats with you all. And I hope to embark on this continued undertaking this journey of NFT worlds with you, and also a journey of exploring our society and our life together, and jointly sharing our highs and lows in life. And then, yeah.
冒险是一个事好。
Thank you so much. Audrey, I wanted to give you an opportunity maybe to share any important information.
Oh, yes. First of all, I want to thank Tai and Sung. Every time I didn't really need to be here during this AMA, but it's such an absolute pleasure to hear both of you speak so poetically, and it's my favorite thing to do every week. And we do have some special news for owners. We cannot share that much yet, but what I can share is that the 12th will be a really important date for an upcoming announcement where we really lay out all the details that we've hinted at in the announcement that went out today. And as Tai's 在自己 Exploding Yourself owners, you will always have the most benefits. You are Tai's first supporters, and also TRLab's first supporters as we enter the space, and we always aim to give back to you. I recognize that there the language of the announcement that was put out today may be a bit more hint, wink, wink, but we definitely emphasize you guys and have been thinking about your participation throughout all of our design mechanics.
That's wonderful. Yeah, I know for sure that the Psy owners keep they're very patient and they're very excited to be here, and I know they really do feel appreciated. So I know I'm eager for them to hear more news very soon. So with that, I want to say goodbye to everyone, and thank you once again for being here and sharing your time. And we're really looking forward to talking to you once again.
谢谢蔡老师，
谢谢，Thank you everybody.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye
See you
bye.
tomorrow in the morning. Okay.
Bye.